Hey friends, Happy New Year. If you're watching this the day it came out, it is January 1st, 2024. Crazy, huh? It is crazy just how quickly that life moves. And a lot has changed in my life this year. A lot has probably changed in your life this year. And we're going to talk a lot about things like that on other videos. And at this time of year, I like to be reflective. I like to be contemplative. I like to think about things that matter and that help me figure out how to be a better person. And we'll be doing a lot of that on the channel. But today, on New Year's Day, we're going to wrap up our reflection of 2023 with my favorite 10 figures of 2023. Now, I'm curious, before we get going, put your guesses in the comments below what you think my favorite figure of the year. If you've been watching all my top 10 videos, I think I've done 6 of them. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 7. Yeah, I did 7 different ones. So you've got 7 different number ones. It has to be one of those, right? But that doesn't mean all 7 of those are going to make this list, right? Because a number 2 or number 3 from one category could be better than a number 1 on a different category. You never know. So I'd be curious. Put in the comments your guess. What do you think is my favorite figure of the year? We have 10 we're going to go through. No honorable mentions because we did all those other videos. But before we get that, let's talk about the year in review for me. This year, and again, we are talking about things that I bought at retail or pre-ordered at retail or ordered at retail. Not things that I bought aftermarket or older things I had to go get or that I didn't intentionally buy, like when I bought the Amazings mystery box. I had to have sought it out and intentionally paid for it this year to be on the list and to be in this tally. So I bought 333. Surprising that's that round a number, and I've probably missed some here or there. 333 action figure items this year. 333. You add on top of that aftermarket stuff like eBay purchases or like the things from The Amazing. It's probably around 400, which is makes you want to vomit when you think about you buy one action figure a day, basically. But on the other side, is definitely lower than it used to be. So I'm trending down. I'm trying to do better about trending down, only buying things that are my favorites. But 333 items at retail. Some of that is heads packs, hands packs, accessory sets, those kinds of things. 9 of those items are vehicles. That's a category we're going to talk a little bit more about in a second. Vehicles. Now, included in vehicles, I'm talking about like the Trouble Bubble, Kino's scooter. But they're vehicles, nonetheless. 112 vehicles that you have to find a spot for on your shelf. The product line, or the company I bought the most from, was NECA. I bought 74 NECA figures. 22.2% of my total action figures bought this year were NECA. The line I bought the most from, G.I. Joe Classified, with 60 items purchased, 59 plus the his tank, and that's 18% of an individual line. Kind of my look back action figures. You want to think about how much money that is? I don't. It's a bad amount of money. But this is definitely the year of the vehicles in the action figure world. 2023 is the year of the vehicles. I've been kidding for a couple years. We're going to need action figure vehicle garage. Well, guess what happened in a 7-day period for me? 2 his tanks arrived, 2 Super 7 party wagons arrived, 2 NECA party wagons arrived. All within a week. The his tanks and the Super 7s arrived at the same day. Why do I have 2 of each? Good question. If you remember G.I. Joe Classified, I buy 1 to keep sealed, 1 to keep, 1 to open. I did that with the his tank. Super 7 Ninja Turtles, I buy 1 to keep sealed, 1 to open. I did that with the party wagon. NECA a little different. The NECA store exclusive stuff I tend to buy 2, so I have 1 as trade bait, which is what I did with the party wagon. So I might trade or sell that because the shipping is usually flat and it's expensive, so it's better to get a couple. In addition to that, we had things like Mandora with the electrocharger bike, Kino with the scooter, 2 different Trouble Bubbles. We had Ramen, who came out with their Makina Red Gullwing figure, like from Mask, the little I Rock. Fortunately, that's 1/18 scale, not quite as big. But we started the year with the Super 7 Thunder Tank, another vehicle. Just before that, I think at the end of last year, I got the Underground Arsenal party wagon, which is bigger, I think, than the Super 7 or the NECA. So I already have a party wagon. Plus, we've got several motorcycles from G.I. Joe already as well. Serpentors, Air Chariot. It's just quite a bit of vehicles. Plus, I have Snake Mountain already from Super 7. So, large figures. Large items. Oh, and I have the Sky Striker from G.I. Joe. I also had that. So, and I've never even opened that. I still have one. All of those vehicles this year. Plus, we backed the Thundercats Cat's Lair from Super 7. Where the heck am I going to put that? We backed the Dragonfly from G.I. Joe. ×2. Where am I going to put that? The year of vehicles. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's both, right? It's hard because each of those were individual decisions, and you didn't think until you got to the end, I think NECA was maybe the last one to put one out, that you were going to have to deal with all of this. You just bought them in a vacuum. Oh, no one else will ever make this. I'm getting this. No, someone else will make it. But they're really good. Super 7, for all of their flaws, kills it with their big products. That Cobra Mothership did not fund, and I think it's because there were too many crowdfund things up at once. But they would have done awesome on that. The Snake Mountain is tremendous. I have every confidence that Cat's Lair is going to be incredible. We saw it in person at PowerCon. It looked awesome. The Thunder Tank's awesome. The Party Wagon's awesome. These are all good products. How do you rank them on a top 10? Well, I just didn't. I bought them all. How do I rank them? I can't. G.I. Joe's got the Vamp coming out next year, too. I forgot about that. Valaverse has the Action Force Vanguard. Another vehicle. It's crazy. And I'll probably buy that too because it's low cost, relatively speaking. So it's the year of the vehicles. The year of the vehicles. And they're great. I just don't know. I mean, space is at a premium. And I think eventually Four Horsemen is going to come out with a big dragon, or they're going to come out with a spaceship or something. They already have all these horses that I don't know where to put, and trolls. So the year of the big thing, the year of the vehicle. Makes it fun, though. We get these things in, they're incredible. I love watching the unboxings. You play with it. You sit on the ground. You move it around like a little kid. We had so much fun as a family unboxing that Thunder Tank. They're all awesome. None of them are going to be on the list, but they were all worth mentioning. And, the crowdfund model, I kind of hope it goes away. But it's produced some really cool stuff. Now then, let's get on with the final top 10 of the year. My overall 10 favorite figures of the year. We start with number 10. It's from Jada Toys, the Street Fighter line, Fei Long. Fei Long was, I believe, my number 1 domestic figure of the year. Yes, he was. So he is the only figure that makes this line from my kind of miscellaneous domestic. We talked a lot about it. Jada has done something that no other company really has done. They're taking intellectual property. They're having to pay for a license. They're taking brand new bucks. They have to create these bucks. They're doing good likeness and impactful effect, but not 50,000 accessories. Really nice packaging. Putting it in a Target, selling it for $25 or less. I don't think anybody else can say that anymore. Legends, there are some that are $25 less, but I don't feel like they get the accessory love. Black Series, I think, forget about it. I haven't bought that in so long. McFarlane maybe is doing it, but Jada, I didn't add in. Incredible articulation schemes. And Fei Long's the best of the year. Ryu's good, Chun-Li's good. Ken will probably be pretty good. I won't have him in time. I think the Mega Man figures are going to be good, but they haven't came in to me yet. Fei Long is the best. He can do that kick where his knee is touching his nose, and he comes with that flame effect for the kick. He's awesome. He's awesome. He really is. And I recommend him. That's my number 10. Number 9, from Four Horsemen Studios, it is Cosmic Legions, and it is Scourge. We talked about him in the most recent video, the 4 Horsemen video. He's a big green dragon. He was a PowerCon early release. Everybody will be able to get him in 2024. So I did get him early, but I've had him since August. I've had him for 4 months, so he makes my list. I can't wait to see this buck continue to be used. It's going to be Arakagor, the big blue dragon's coming. He's a cosmic space dragon, and he's a Motu tribute. What more do you want? He's great. Get to number 8. We get a SH Figure Arts, our first import figure of the year, and are on this list, and it is Metal Cooler. I talked about this when I did that review. I don't understand how they can get the chrome and the metal and the vac metal or whatever is on this figure looking so good, and Super 7 saying it can't be done until recently. Maybe they both discovered it at the same time, because I do think the Super 7 Silverhawks that they've shown that are vac metal look really nice. But this Metal Cooler is awesome. He's got good effects. I just wish he wasn't $150 or whatever he is, because I'd like to army build it. They'd like you to army build it. If it's $50, I might buy 4. This price, well, technically, I do have 2. I did buy 2 of them. But that Frieza buck is such a good buck anyway. I think it's one of the best figures they've ever made. Let's move to number 7. We're going to stay in the imports. From Figma, from Metroid Dread, it is Samus Aran in her Metroid Dread outfit, the red, white, and blue. Figma. I think this may be the figure that I had the most fun with playing and posing, even more than Jada Fei Long. I played with Jada's Fei Long at my desk for like a month, but this is such a good articulated figure. Figma can have such smooth, really nice joints sometimes, and other times they aren't as good. But this one, it is. It's one of the best figures of the year and one I definitely recommend. It's interesting here. We're going to go 3 straight imports on this list. No, we're not. I'm misreading. But if you like Metroid, if you like Nintendo, this one I think is only going to get more expensive in value, so grab it. And play the game if you haven't played Metroid Dread. Awesome game. Let's move to number 6. This was my number 1 Super 7 figure of the year. So you see, Super 7 only getting 1 represented on this list. And that is from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Genghis Frog. I think this figure is really good. It gives me nostalgia I talked about from the early toy. I think it's just way better than the Genghis Frog that NECA made, which I know NECA's making the cartoon version, but those frogs were not very good. They can't stand up. They do the splits all the time. They have a lot of issues, and they reused it a couple times. But this wacky head with the big tongue, he's awesome. He's awesome. I love the Super 7 Ninja Turtles line. I really hope we get a lot more toys in that line next year, because I was disappointed with the output this year. Moving to number 5, this is why I misread. So we get our 3rd import figure on this list. So we've got 1 Horseman figure, 1 domestic retail, 1 Super 7, and then 3 of imports. Number 5 is SH Figure Arts Chainsaw Man. It was my favorite import figure of the year. And almost won figure of the year. These top 5 are all pretty close to each other, really. And this guy was my favorite figure of the year for a while this year, maybe for the first half of the year, or at least the first quarter. Such fun, such good articulation, really good effects. I'm also just really impressed with how quickly that they, can you see Rufus? You can see the reflection of Rufus right here. He's like digging into the pillows. He wants to join. Rufus, are you the best figure of the year? No? Rufus is actually 2. We've had him longer than 1 year, so he's not the figure of the year. Come here. He's just right here buried in the thing. SH Figure Arts Chainsaw Man. Great manga, great anime, really awesome set of figures so far. I recommend it. Just needed to have Pochita. Might have been number 1 if it had came with Pochita. Number 4, my number 4 favorite figure of the year is the only G.I. Joe Classified on this list. And that is the G.I. Joe Classified Televiper with the Trouble Bubble. This is primarily for the Trouble Bubble, which is awesome, which is maybe a little bit unfair because I'm not putting the other vehicles on the list. But this set, which I thought was a really affordable set, I think it's around $50, $55. I think it was Pulse exclusive. But even the Televiper itself is good. It's got multiple heads, so you can display it different ways. It is at a price point that I think is somewhat realistic for people to army build if they want 3 or 4 Trouble Bubbles and have them all looking different. But the Trouble Bubble itself is awesome. It just needed a flight stand. Missed a flight stand, which I wish they would have had. So that's number 4, and the only G.I. Joe. So we know G.I. Joe's gone from the list. We know Super 7's gone from the list because you've already seen my number 1. Domestic's gone from the list because you've seen my number one. Imports are gone from the list because you've seen 3, 2, 1. We got 3 left. There's only 2 categories that it could be, or 3 categories. It could be a 6 scale figure, could be a 4 horseman figure, could be a NECA figure. Number 3, from 4 Horsemen Studios, Cosmic Legion's Slog. Big, beefy Slog. I love this guy. He's huge. Like I said in my 4 Horsemen video, I want a big character that I can have in my hands. I don't want little tiny pegs. I got peg in the little tiny holes. I want him to be big and beefy. The detail on his suit is amazing. When I got the custom from Scott where he repainted it, it brought the detail out in the sculpt even more. I'm really excited to see what they continue to do with the sculpt, if they use it. I don't know how they're going to use it, but I'm excited to see if they do. I like the green version, but they can give me a bunch of different slogs and I'd be happy with it. So that's number 3. Down to the top 2. You could probably guess at least one of these 2 right now. My number 2 figure of the year is from NECA, and it is my number 1 NECA figure of the year, which means there is no NECA Ninja Turtles figure on this list, and there was only one single Ninja Turtles item on this list, which is crazy when you think about how many Ninja Turtles figures I buy. But number 2 is NECA Baby Sinclair from Dinosaurs. I love it. I love this figure. I know I talked a lot about it on my NECA Top 10 video. I know he's just a little dude in a diaper that doesn't have very much articulation. He comes with 72 accessories. But I love him. I think it's perfect. It's perfect. And part of action figures is it the right representation of the thing they're trying to represent? And this is. Do you really need a hyper, import level articulated Baby Sinclair from Dinosaurs? I don't think so. I think this is perfect. And I love it. So, with Not the Mama coming in number 2, there's only one figure left. You should know what it is by now if you watched all my other videos. From 4 Horsemen Studios, Figura Obscura, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Best figure of the year. Best figure of the year. Now, I don't always, as much as I love 4 Horsemen Studios, and I certainly love that community and going to the events and I buy everything, they don't always win figure of the year for me because they do have sometimes limited articulation. Sometimes it's too much reuse compared to other things. So they aren't always the clear winner. But that was not the case this year. Monkey King has almost all new parts on him. Almost all. And certainly they're going to be reused. They're added to the parts library. They're going to be reused. But this was really the studio showing what it can do now that it's matured. And while we love things like all-star votes and stuff like that, because we get figures that are expensive on the aftermarket, we get an opportunity to buy them, they don't get to use their new skills and their new stuff. We want new things. I think that's what makes Figura Obscura so good. This year was an incredible Figura Obscura line with Monkey King, with the Mask of the Red Death, with Jacob Marley, all having all kinds of new parts on them. And seeing what the future of 4 Horsemen Studios is going to be. So we'll call him the Monkey King from the presentation, the incredible box art that Nate Barsh does, the packaging itself, the accessories you can get with it, the pins and the mugs and the artwork and all this kind of stuff. It makes it such a fun line to collect. And I'm not doing a favorite figure line of the year this year as a countdown, but I think I might say Figura Obscura is actually my favorite line of the year. Only 3, but each time I was so excited and so caught up, and so for about 3 weeks of the year, I was all in on Figura Obscura. And it was all positive and joyful and happy. And that's a good thing. And I think that's what's wonderful about that line. So, some will call him the Monkey King. Big dubs. Figure of the year for 2023. We enter 2024. What are my focus? I got to make up my mind. Am I still going to collect G.I. Joe Classified at all? If that answer is yes, I got to make up my mind. Am I going to collect loose and sealed? Or am I just going to collect loose? Or am I just going to pick and choose? What am I going to do? I got to decide that. Super 7 Ultimates. I got to decide, am I going to keep getting one sealed and one to open of the Ninja Turtles line? I have to make up my mind, am I going to collect any of the other Ultimates? Am I going to keep buying Thundercats? Am I going to keep buying G.I. Joe? I will certainly get Wily Cat, Wily Kitten, and Snarf, because I have the Cat Slayer. But will I get any others? I don't know. Super 7 is a hard one to talk about. NECA Ninja Turtles. I'm kind of burnt out. You saw that the only NECA product that made my line was Baby Sinclair. No Ninja Turtles on it. Were they putting out good product? Yeah. But it was like just really obscure characters. Even the most ardent fans don't know who they are. Well, I keep collecting NECA Gargoyles. I know I'll keep getting Dungeons and Dragons. I know I'll keep getting the Dinosaurs line. Those are the things I'm evaluating. Horsemen, I'm good there. I'm all in. The import stuff I've already trimmed down away from things I don't want. I think I'm probably still good there. 6 scale, I've scaled way back. I'll finish out the Iron Studios Lord of the Rings and I'll be done with statues. So I hope, if I bought 333 and around 400 total, I hope that number's about 200 next year. I'm honest with you. We'll find out when we get to my year in review of 2024. Thank you all for joining me on the channel this year. It's a lot has changed in life, and we're going to talk about that as we start to focus on 2024 in the coming videos. You will continue to see some fun vlogs. Kai and I have had a few adventures that we recorded back in December that you're going to see in January, so that we didn't have to record as much over the holiday itself. So thanks for joining on all these top videos that we've done, and I hope you enjoyed them. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you in the next video. Squeeze it.